Welcome back. This week marked the one-year anniversary of the signing of the Respect for Marriage Act. Even though same-sex marriage has been legal in the U.S. since 2015, the law officially repealed the 1990s-era Defense of Marriage Act. There's a major push for one of our Wisconsin senators, Democrat Tammy Baldwin.
By passing this bill and having it signed into law by President Biden, we have told so many couples that we see you and we respect you.
And it's also been a win that the Biden administration is touting. And joining us now is a spokesperson for the Biden 2024 campaign, Kevin Munoz. And thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So we've seen same-sex marriage allowed here in the country for the last 8 years. How impactful is this law to codify that?
Well, look, what's really important, and what we saw after the Dobbs decision, was that MAGA Republicans, whether they're on the Supreme Court or they're elected officials in state houses across the country, they've made very clear they want to take away Americans' fundamental freedoms. And they said very clearly that they're not going to stop just at the right for a woman to choose, but actually go after same-sex marriage. So we are incredibly grateful for Senator Baldwin and the president, who spearheaded a bipartisan effort to make sure that we are codifying the protection for every American to love who they love. I do want to be clear, though, this is an important step, but we have to make clear that in this election next year, we have to think about how LGBTQ Americans are impacted by existing laws that allow denial of service at restaurants and things like that. So we have to run on the Equality Act.
I was going to say, too, as a campaign issue, we think of things like the economy and abortion ranking pretty highly. How much are people paying attention to this as a campaign issue?
Look, we know that freedom and democracy are on the ballot in November 2024. This is the freedom for every woman to make her own healthcare decision, the freedom of every person, including our children at school, to be safe from gun violence, and absolutely the freedom of every American to be who they are without interference, without attacks from their elected officials. We're seeing on the campaign trail MAGA Republicans using our community as political pawns. The Speaker of the House has openly mused whether homosexuality should be criminalized. So we have to talk about this within the lens of the reality. Do we want to have more rights or less? And that's on the ballot.
So I want to look ahead to 2024 here. We have the RNC coming to Wisconsin. What's the campaign's overall goal for the Badger State?
Look, Wisconsin is a critical state that sent the president to the White House in 2020. And we are investing early and often in this state because we know that it's going to be incredibly close, like it always is in Wisconsin. We're encouraged by the fact that we have been up on the airwaves, including in the largest and earliest investment into African-American media since August. Wisconsin is one of 2 states that the Biden campaign is piloting a new way of organizing focused on young voters and African-American voters. So it is going to be close, but we are putting in the work to win next November.
We're seeing the Republican field kind of narrow here, winnow down a little bit. Do you have a sense of, from your perspective, who you'd want to have the president run against?
Look, the president has been very clear, and this campaign is clear. We are prepared to run against every Republican in this field. They are all a part of the toxic and losing MAGA agenda led by Donald Trump, who's clearly winning in the polls right now. But they are all supportive of tax cuts for the billionaires, a national abortion ban, and siding with the gun lobby over our own children.
So in Wisconsin here, we have our Marquette Law School poll. It shows the president's net favorability in Wisconsin is -14. That's taken from a poll in late October. Now, Trump has been a little bit worse than that, but we haven't seen too many people not have an opinion about the president. Just kind of curious what you do to sway some of those sentiments as they seem that they are pretty entrenched.
Yeah, look, I think for us, what's really important, and we say it often here, is polls don't vote, voters do. And Wisconsin, look no further, is a state that when you put the president's agenda at the ballot box, especially what we saw in April with the Supreme Court election, it is a winning one. And so what we have to do and what we will be focused on is investing early and often and reminding folks about the stakes and the choice that will be on the ballot box next year between a president who is focused on the real issues that matter to the American people and that very toxic and very rejected agenda that Donald Trump embodies.
Kevin Munoz with the Biden 2024 campaign. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.